Hello guys, good morning, welcome to another video. In this video I will be starting renovation on the living room. And what needs to be done in the living room, let me show you. So in the living room here, it used to be tatami. You can still see there's one on the wall and there's one right here, and this tatami mat that was here would have made it the same height as the door frame, but because we're taking this out and we're putting wood in, we have to raise this up by the same amount as the tatami. And to do that, I bought some beams, some wooden beams. These are 30 by 40 millimeters. So if we flip it on its 30 millimeter side and then add a piece of plywood on top, which is 9 millimeter, and in between the wooden beams and the plywood we have a sheet of soundproofing, which is also a couple millimeters, and then my flooring of choice here, which is this Economy SPC laminate, which is also a couple of millimeters, then we will be getting pretty close to 50 millimeters, which is the same thickness as the old tatami mat. So here I already have 6 pieces of plywood and 10 wooden beams, 11 pieces of soundproofing sheets, and I also forgot to mention about these 6 pieces of styrofoam. This is styrofoam IB. This will be going in between the pieces of wood and underneath the plywood for insulation. So with those two things and these two things, the only thing I'm actually missing are the screws. So right now, before you get started, let me take you guys to the hardware store where I'll be looking at some screws. And I think I also need maybe something like a handsaw to cut the pieces of wood in case they're too long or too short. Both walls here, front and back, all filled with screws. We are looking for one that has this kind of shape over here. So we're looking for something like this with no threads at the top and then the threading over here. And we need it to be thick enough to go through the wooden beam and into the subfloor. Now that wooden beam is 30 millimeters. This is pretty good already. So something like this would work, 51 millimeter, and there is 75 in here. So these ones are very similar to this one here, except it's just a little bit thicker, same length, and there's less. And I might also need to buy a kind of handsaw like these so that I can cut the styrofoam. There's so many here, I don't know which one to pick, so I'm going to take my time and I'm going to search it online and do some Google translating. I picked out this one. It has an illustration right there. I also need to be able to cut the tube in my bathroom for the sink just like that, so I think I'm gonna use this. It would also be a good idea to buy a face mask, so I'm looking at it now. I think this one here is just fine, just a normal dust mask with an active carbon filter, so pretty good. And these are the replacement filters for it, so I'm gonna buy one of these and a few of these. Okay, I just came back. I have everything I need. I'm gonna start working right away because there's not many hours left in the day and I don't want to be drilling or making noise at night. Now, because getting rid of trash in Japan isn't as simple as just throwing it in a bin or something, stuff like this you need to call someone to come and collect it and you need to pay money for it. I can't actually clear the entire space here because I have other things laying around the house right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this all to that side, do the first half over here, and then bring everything over and do the second half over there. So what I'm going to do now is, using a marker, some measuring tape and a leveler, is lay out each plank of wood, see if it's level, and mark down the position where I want it, and see how much spacing I want to leave in between each piece of wood. Okay, so you can see I've done these 4 here and I've separated them about 40 centimeters from each other, from center to center. And some of these aren't really straight, this one bends a little bit. So in the middle here, the gap is wider, it's closer on the ends here, and they're not long enough to reach the full length of the room. So what I did is I staggered them. So one comes from here, the other one comes from here, and then it goes left, right, left, right. With that being said, I did check the level for all of these. It's a bit uneven here, but very slightly, by like 1 degree or something. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark each positioning out with a marker, and I'm going to drill pilot holes, and then I'm going to drill like 1 or 2 screws to secure them in, fix them in place just to hold them, and then I'll see if they're level again, and if they are, then that's good. If they're not, then I'll slide a smaller piece of wood or something underneath. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Okay, so I just showed you guys the example for these 2 here. Use this, make a little pilot hole, and then drill the screws through. You can see it's pretty level over here. Bring it over here. is also pretty level. So I'm going to keep checking and I'm going to keep doing it for all of these here. Okay, so as you guys can see here, I've done it all the way up until here and it's pretty close to the wall, and I've got 4 over there, which leads me to do it the opposite direction. I'm probably not going to have enough, so I'm going to have to run down to the hardware store and buy a few more, but I'm going to finish using these first and then that'll tell me how many more I'll need to buy. So now I'm going to bring this out and hopefully this should be enough to cut through each piece. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so I put down a piece of plywood here just to show you guys what I mean. If I was to step here and walk here, it would be fine. But if I stepped in the middle, then it would go in. So at the very least, I have to put beams underneath where the plywood ends. So that means if the plywood was sitting in the corner, every 91 centimeters, I should at least have a piece of wood going across like this towards the center underneath this. It should be okay structurally, because also I'm going to have styrofoam underneath. So I think I don't need too many going across, just enough on the side. So with that being said, I'm going to mark out every 91 centimeters going across here, and I'm going to put these where I marked them. Okay, so this is what I have for now. That first piece of plywood will lay like this, so longer than it is wider. But then after that piece, I'm going to lay it on its longer side, so that it fills up the entire rest of the room. But this piece of plywood is actually too long for that. So I would need to cut off 17 centimeters from the side here to make it flat against the wall. So these here I will put along for the first piece of plywood, and the second piece will go on its longer side. So instead I reinforce right up against the wall where it's gonna lay. I'm gonna need to do that over here as well because the corners are quite important. Okay, so after laying down the rest of the 3 pieces of wood that I have here, I can do a rough estimate. I will need 1, 2, 3, and 4 more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the hardware store and I'm going to order 4 more pieces of these. It is currently 7:30. You can see it's turning dark, but the hardware store closes at like 10, I believe. So I'm going to take a shower and then leave at around 8 hopefully, and it only takes me like 20 minutes to get there on the bike. So I'll see you guys at the hardware store. So I'm here and I am picking up another batch of this 30 by 40 by 200. It comes in a pack of 9 for around £10, so it's pretty worth it. It is not the cleanest cut, it is quite rough and it's also uneven in some places, but for underneath the floor it doesn't really matter. And this floor is on top of another floor anyway, so it's like I don't need it to be that good. But I also do need to look for some wood for the walls, but I am going to ask a clerk which one is more worth it. Should I go for something that's smoother here, or is something like one of these a bit more worth it, because these are rougher but also is underneath the wall again and is going to be covered by plasterboard, so does it really matter? I'm going to see. So I ended up picking this one, SPF, which is good for this kind of stuff, 38 by 90. And then I told him to cut it, and now it's the right height for my wall, so I don't need to do anything. And then the leftover pieces that came out from cutting is just long enough, or is more than long enough, for the floor and the top. Okay, so I bought some more lumber. I ordered it for delivery because I can't drive here. So the earliest they can do it is Monday. Today's Saturday, so I have to wait 2 days. But in those 2 days, I can basically do as much as I can until then, and then just wait for the delivery to come and then do the rest. Anyway, that's it for tonight. It's past 10 now. I'm gonna go grab something to eat and then go home and sleep, and see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna start working tomorrow again. Welcome to the next day. It is currently around evening time, so I want to do as much drilling as possible before it turns dark. I know I said I only needed like 5 pieces of wood, but I bought a bundle of 9 just in case, so that means I'll have a lot left over. So now I don't have to be scarce or like reserved about using too much. So now my plan is extending the rest of these to the end and then adding extra wood on the sides, and then also this one here going along the middle. That is the plan, and I'm gonna get to it. Guys, so I'm done with the ones on the side over here. I'm done with the ones going down the middle. And I'm also done with these two on this side as well. And after all that, I have officially ran out of wood other than this little piece here. And I want to show you guys something. I have a screw in here going sideways, going down the long way, which is 45mm thick. Now originally, I thought these screws were long enough to get the job done. And they're good enough to get the job done by screwing these into the subfloor. But I also thought that these would be long enough with the plywood on top as well. So this is 30mm, the plywood is 9mm, so it will be 39mm, but with the addition of the soundproofing sheets, which I'm not sure, but I'm going to say is about 4mm, it will be 43mm in total. This is 45mm thick. And you see, it's not long enough to really do anything when it comes out the bottom. When this is drilled into the ground, it's not big enough to hold a proper grip on the floor. So my plan originally was secure these onto the floor with just enough screws. So you see 1, 2, 3, just enough screws minimum to hold it in place for now, and then with the plywood on top, then I can use these to go nuts and drill it in everywhere to secure it properly onto the floor. But I'm not able to with these anymore because they're too short. So if that's the case, I'm going to use these for the rest of the beams, and then I'll buy longer screws for the plywood on top and go crazy with it. So tonight I'm going to go back to the hardware store. I'm going to buy a new box of screws, and I'm also going to buy a bigger box. I'm going to buy the really big box because this is a box of 75, and 75 was just enough to cover this. So I'll buy the big box of like 500 or something. But for now, because I ran out of wood, I can at least get started with the styrofoam. So from one piece of styrofoam, I have about this much left. I did a little bit here, and then I did 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. At first I tried using this, but it made the edges very jaggedy. I found it was easier with just a razor, but because it's so thick, I kind of like miscalculated how much I needed to tilt. So some of these aren't straight. The thing with these styrofoam is that it's hard, it's rigid, but because it's styrofoam, you can cut them a little bit bigger and then you can push it in. So that's just what I did. I cut them like right on size or a little bit bigger, and if they were slightly too big to fit, I would just push it in with my weight, and this is pretty solid now. And because the styrofoam itself is quite rigid underneath some weight, it's actually not too bad. I don't want to jump on it too much. And the plywood on top, if I step in this area, it's okay. It's able to hold my weight, and if I walk across here to the end, it's all good. Pretty solid. So yeah, it's quite late now. It's like 8:30. So tomorrow's Monday. I'm gonna do the rest of the styrofoam for the rest of the floor, and I'm gonna go out to buy some extra long screws. With that being said, it's 8:30. I'm gonna eat dinner. I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hello guys, welcome to Monday. As you can see behind me, I got delivery of the lumber. 2 prolonged ones here. These 4 will be used vertically for the walls. These are 2x4, so they're 38 by 90, which is pretty solid for building walls. If you remember, I bought 4 really long ones and they cut it down for me. These 4 here are what's left or what remained from cutting the longer ones, and these I can put together for the bottom and the top plywood. I would actually need to scoot it out a little bit because it's going to go on top of this, not the plywood, or that's my plan anyway. It's a pack of 9 that I bought, 30 by 45, so that will go along the end over there, and also to fill in some spaces as well, like here for example. Currently in the afternoon, it is quite sunny out, but in the living room there's not much light at all. I can't really do anything about that. It's just the way that these houses are. The only windows in this house is at the back and at the front. I actually got another package earlier as well. This is the tap for the sink. I am going to build a sink, and I'm going to replace that one over there, which is very ugly and very old. So that's coming in a future video where I build it from scratch, like the cabinet and also the sink I put on top, and then connecting all the plumbing and stuff. So that should be fun. Okay, I am back, and here we go. 51mm by 3.8. 4.0, 3.8, basically the same thing. You have 500 instead. Massive box. This is 32mm. Decided to use these for these and this for the plywood. I also bought this. It basically holds this thing. I use this to make the pilot hole, and what I've been doing is after I make the pilot hole with this, I have to unscrew it and I have to screw this one on instead. This is a lot bigger. You can see the difference in thickness, right? So every time I unscrew this, I have to make the hole bigger for this, and then vice versa. If I unscrew this, I have to make the hole smaller for this. But what this does is I put this one in here, and this are the same size, so it's virtually just a quick swap. And then I also bought another measuring tape because this one is really flimsy. It just flops like this, and it doesn't have an automatic lock feature. You have to push this down to lock it, but this tape is a lot thicker. It's 25mm thick, so already when you pull it out, it's a lot more sturdy when you tilt it and stuff like that. And also it locks itself until you press the button, and then it goes back. And it's also magnetized on the tip, so you can do stuff like this. Ta-da! And then when you're done, this is so cool. This is so cool. This is the new setup now. My screws are here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinforce these that I've already put down. And I'm going to put the new ones down. I'm going to try to at least finish the rest of this floor tonight. Okay, so I managed to do the rest up until the wall, and you got the wood on that side, the wood on that side, and also the one going down here. Tomorrow I'm going to fill all of these spaces in with styrofoam, and then I'll be plotting out how to do this over here against the wall. Hello guys, it is the next day. I woke up and I got straight to work. These first studs that I put down, I drilled in extra nails every 30 centimeters intervals just to secure it into place. And then I did the styrofoam for the rest going along the way. I'm missing that corner over there and this corner over here. But once I get everything out and I put it in, then it'll be done. After doing that corner, the next thing I can think about is cutting these down. And what I mean by cutting these down is these 2x4s are 19 millimeters thick. And because they're coming out off the wall a little bit to make it detached, it uses up a lot of space. So on this side and on this side, it's going to make the room feel a little bit smaller. It is going to be smaller, and you're going to be able to feel it. So being detached from the wall and being 19 millimeters already, this is probably 110 millimeters. And then I'm going to use 2 layers of 12.5 millimeter drywall. So that's 135 millimeters, about 13 centimeters. We'll say 14 centimeters. It'll come off the wall. On this side 14 centimeters, on that side 14 centimeters, and then I might plaster or I might wallpaper, so that adds a little bit extra thickness, and I might put mass loaded vinyl inside. So we're talking 30 centimeters, 15 centimeters on each side. So this room will feel a lot smaller, and it's already quite small already. You can see just on this side alone, it'll come out a little bit, and then you can tell, you can just see. And because it's a non-load bearing wall, it doesn't need to be that strong. So what I'm thinking is I'll cut it in half. I'll cut this in half, cut this in half, cut all of these in half, and it'll be 45 millimeters thick instead of 90. And then I can also use half of it for that side instead of buying new lumber. So that means the new wall won't be that thick, it won't take up too much space, and overall I think you'll feel a lot better in the room. Now cutting these down, I could use this, but I don't really feel comfortable using this. This vibrates a lot and it's going to be unstable. So what I gotta do is I gotta run down to the hardware store again, and I'm going to buy a circular saw this time. So these two are the cheapest ones I can find in the store. This one's 145, this one's 165, this one's around 50 something pounds. This one should just under 50 pounds or about 50 pounds. But the thing is, I saw prices cheaper in the other store for the same sizes. Okay, so I bought the screws from there, and literally I'm just walking over here. So that is their pro store, and this is their normal home center, and in here they have the other one. Okay, so here it is. The 165 is 8,000, the other one was like 10,000 something, and they don't have a 145, they have a 147, and it's even cheaper. It's 7,000 instead of 9,900 and something. For that price, I could get this one instead. It's also a 165, but it's Hikoki branded, and this one is just Liflex. So this is a better brand. This one is also okay. They make a lot of stuff as well, and it's cheaper. I think I'm gonna buy the 165 one over the 147 because that looks like a really good price. But you gotta remember 10% tax, so that's the actual price, not this. Okay, another entry for the diary. So I have officially done the corners over here and also over here, so everything is done now. I also used the hoover to vacuum a little bit over here. You can see I am actually left with one full-size styrofoam and also a little bit here as well. So I'm guessing I don't need 6 sheets of these plywoods either, because I ordered 6 of these and 6 of these. So if I have 1.5 left, I'm gonna have 1.5 left of this. Okay, I've laid down 3 for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my circular saw, I'm gonna go half, 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 and then we'll find our way from there. Just to recap, this is 90 millimeters, so half would be about 45. So here is the saw. I already marked down 45 millimeters yesterday. I'm gonna double check if it is correct, and then I will do the first cut. Don't worry, I'm doing this unplugged right now. You can see it has moved slightly. It is around 46, 47, so I need to move it back a little bit first before I start. That was very exciting. But you can see how much dust has came off of just that alone. It went all the way up there. It went all the way back here, just from that one cut. I think I need to circulate the air a little bit. I do have a face mask on though. I'm so glad I put this on because it is so dusty right now. So you can see right here, it's about 45 this way, which is about correct. So I'm very happy with that. So now what I'm doing is I'm turning on the stud finder. This also has a wall measuring like the depth sensor. So it can tell me where is hollow and where there's something underneath. So for example, I feel right around here is hollow, right? I turn this on and it's completely hollow over here. Now against the wall, I feel something here is really hard. So if I turn this on, the whole wall along here, yeah, literally the entirety of the wall here is solid. There's something behind it, which means that can fit here perfectly anywhere. It is getting dark outside though. I don't want to be drilling at this kind of time, so I'm going to wait until tomorrow. So I'm going to figure out where the new wall is, and then this plywood will push up against the new wall and the floor will start from there instead. So tomorrow we're going to figure out that, and then we're going to do the rest of the floor and the floor will be done, and then it'll be ready for the actual flooring on top, which is the laminate flooring that I've got. So this is my haul for this trip. You have a massive leveler right there. You have this for cutting. You have this, which is a carpenter square. And you have some screws. These screws, I'm hoping, will go through this, go through that, and then into the subfloor. 90 millimeters, I hope it's enough. So if it's being used like this, it should be enough, just a little bit. So what I need to do now is, using a combination of tools, is to make sure that this piece here is 65 millimeters from the wall all across, and then I can drill it in. So we can see here on this one against the wall, this one is 65 millimeters, so this corner is good to go. I didn't record this part, but I cut out some more of these and I put them underneath over here, here, and here for reinforcement, so I can drill here and drill here, because before it was just there, and that was it. There was nothing else. So this would be floating on top of styrofoam, which I don't like. So I put some extra ones under there so that I can drill into them. So you see, by using this massive long ass level, you can tell that this piece of wood here is has a little kink to it about here. So, you know, if I push this side in, that's flat. This part comes out, and vice versa. So around here, it's not flat. So in that case, I will have to push this a little bit back before screwing it in. So here we go, I drilled it all along here, and now that we know where the wall finishes, now we can actually drill in the plywood. Okay, so the first piece is done now. The second piece, I have two ways of doing it. I can do another one going this way, and then the third one will be over here, and I need to cut it along the long side. Or I can have one piece going all the way to the end of that wall, and I need to cut it maybe 17 centimeters, but on the shorter side instead of the longer side. And I think I will cut it on the shorter side. For me, it's easier to make multiple short cuts rather than 2 or 3 long cuts. Because you know, this power cord isn't even that long, so I can't really do a whole cut cleanly. Okay, so that's this one done as well. You can see it's pretty cool, pretty good. These two for now. It is like 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna stop drilling. It's time to take a shower and go out for dinner. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so this next day now. I was doing this one. You see, I already cut it off, and I was screwing it. And then as I was screwing it, I realized that this one and this one kind of lifted around here. And when you step on either one, it kind of creaks because it was rubbing against each other. So what I had to do was I had to take this entire one out. Had to lift this one up a little bit, and I put some reinforcements down here, and then this way now it's not creaking, it's not moving. And this piece of plywood ends here where this line is, and it's kind of floating as well. So I'm not sure what to do. Maybe I'll cut out a little bit here along the way and just reinforce it with some wood like I did for this one over here. I think that is the safest bet. You can see the first piece that I put down doesn't reach this stud either, but this one doesn't have any crease, it doesn't move. What I can do too is the next piece that I put against it, I'll make sure that there's a small little gap so it doesn't exactly touch. That's also another way. While I am here with this one, I will make a little cutout and I'll reinforce it with some wood. So I put that board back over where it was, and you can see right around here, there's some creaking. It was mostly just around here. That's why I put that piece of wood underneath. So I'm gonna line it up with these screws here, and that's where the piece of wood is. So now I'm just gonna screw all of this back down. And this is a very small one that I put on this side. I think the size should be okay if I leave a small little gap as well. You can definitely see the wobble on this one here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw 2 into here, and then that will hold down the middle. It won't stop the ends from wobbling, but I'll just leave a small little gap between the next one. Okay, so that was basically half the room done. I need to do the other half now. Now that is the soundproofing sheet. Originally I was going to put it underneath the plywood in between the layers here, but I'm not doing it because there's no one below me and there's no reason to stop the sound from going down. It's just a foundation underneath. I don't have neighbors under there, so it's kind of pointless. And that sheet doesn't really do much for footsteps. A thick rug would be more useful in that case, so I'm saving these for the walls instead. That would be useful because these guys are running their TVs right now as we speak, but my aircon is pretty loud, so you can't really hear them. I have 11 of those. I'm going to save it for the walls instead. And I forgot to mention the flooring that I have. Behind it, there is already a layer of kind of rubber soundproofing material. This should be pretty good already. But yes, you can see we are halfway. 182 by 91. So 2 of these is the same length as one. I'm gonna lay another one down here to see how far it goes. It needs to stop a little bit, just like this side, because there's gonna be a new wall there. Okay, so it doesn't exactly fit right up against the wall. We still have a little bit of a gap here. Ideally, it should be something like this for the new wall to be. And also, this wall here isn't straight. It's not straight. This part sticks out. There's a gap here, and there's a gap here. Don't know if I'm gonna fix that or not. Probably not gonna do anything to that. I can't be asked. What I am gonna do though is I'm gonna cut down some of this and put it along over here, over there, and somewhere over here as well, so that I can do what I did for this side and put a new wall down. Again, same as this side, I'm gonna try replicate 65 millimeters coming off of the existing wall. Okay, I did it for that wall there now, and I already knew this was gonna happen, so this door won't be able to open. I'm thinking of stripping this door out and replacing it with just one single left swing door instead of two separate ones. But now that that's done, I'm thinking I should do 1, 2, 3. So cut 2 along the short side, and then the last one will be cut along the long side. But it doesn't really matter which way I do it. And also this side isn't straight either. Massive gap right here, although it lines up over there. This room isn't really, it's square, but it's not exactly 90 degrees square. I'm probably gonna have to leave that. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about it now. It's currently 8:12. I did that. I just finished cutting the last piece here. This one has no screws yet. I'm gonna try and get this done by 8:30. It's already way darker than it should be. I normally stop at like 7:30 to 8. Just this last one and we are done with the entire floor. So tomorrow I'm gonna vacuum all this up, clean this up, and we're gonna get started on this wall on this side, because on here we have a power socket and the cabinet, and also there's a slant there. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to put the actual flooring down on top yet, because I still have to build the walls, and if I build the walls while the actual flooring is here, I'm definitely going to damage it. Like, there's no way. It's unavoidable. I'm messy, I'm clumsy, I'm going to damage it. So right now, while it's still plywood and I have all my tools and everything laid around, I'm going to build the walls first, and then I'm going to lay the laminate flooring on top. So yeah, that's it for this video. I want to say that this is a long format video. It's documenting everything throughout the whole process, any troubles that I had or anything like that. If you want a recap or a summary, a quick and more concise video with less talking, that will also be on my channel. And if I upload this video before that one, then I will link it. If you want more videos regarding my renovation journey, my DIY, then make sure you subscribe. If anything, liking and sharing this video also helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.